Hey guys, what's going on? This is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com, and today we're going to go over how to set up bands on the bench press. A lot of people bench press, not everybody deadlifts and squats. I get it, it sucks. It's hard, it's painful. But I want to show how to set up the bands correctly on the bench press. Now, where do you get bands? I get this question all the time. You want to go to elitefts.com. I'm going to post a discount code on the top tier Train Heroic so you guys can save some money on bands and shirts and a couple other limited things. Right now, steel is super expensive, so equipment's out of the question, but I can probably get you some discount codes on bands. So let's go and see how to set this up. But make sure you visit our sponsors, both Elite FTS and ATPlabs.com, for all your supplement needs. Now, for most of you guys bench pressing, there's only one band you're really going to need probably 90% of the time, and that's going to be the red band. The red band is basically just called a mini band. Now, they do make a monster mini band, which is a little bit thicker, but I would not recommend using anything with the monster mini until you're over a 400-pound bencher. So, you know, the stat that I posted on my Instagram, which was like, I think only 0.1% of the population in the entire world can even deadlift 405, let alone bench it. I don't know that we need to talk about how to set up the Monster Mini. So let's talk about the mini band. Now, the trick with band tension is we want to get it as close to the ground as possible. So I'm going to show you on the Wenning Strength bench how that's achieved. Okay, so on the Wenning Strength bench, we have these stainless solid steel T-handles, and these T-handles can go in a multiple position of holes. What we like to do is count 3 back, and this is where we put the hole. Now we put the T on the inside of the rack and then pull it all the way out. Now we have a place to set our bands, and it's only about 1 inch off of the floor. Okay, now I'm going to show you another video here in a little bit on some ways you can use it in the rack, but it's not going to be as much band tension because you're not going to be going as high. This is why it's really important to get a lot of the right equipment in your facility if you're buying or if you got your own home gym. So once we got the T-handle down and we got it set in the right position, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the band and we're just going to have it like so, right? We're not going to lace it. We're just going to put it through the ends just like that and make sure there's no crinkles in it. This is how you set up your bands. Notice that at the bottom of the bench is exactly where the band tension starts. So when you use bands, you want band tension on the lift the entire range of motion. You don't want it sloppy at the bottom. You want it tight all the way through. Now this goes all the way to the bar. And now we have 50 pounds of band tension at the top and about 25 pounds of band tension at the bottom, maybe a little bit more or less depending on how thick you are. Okay, so this is what you would use for speed work 85% of the time if you're using bands and if you're anywhere around a 400-pound bench or below. This even works if you're stronger, if you're trying to move even faster. So what if we're weaker and we only have this set of red bands, the mini bands? Well, what we do is we take half of the band off. So I like to take the outside and put it where I'm going to show you. So this one goes to the top of the rack. So now what we do is we put this in the J-hook, and then we take this one to the bar. Now, interestingly enough, why do we do that? Well, I'm going to show you. So when let's pretend that I'm in here laying down bench pressing, or I have a client bench pressing. They take the bar out, look at the band. It doesn't get in the way of itself. If I flip it the opposite way, it's going to get caught. So I'll show you the wrong way. So if I go and just pick a side and don't even think about it, right? So I put this side on the bar and this side on the J-hook. Now, when I lift it out, look what the band's doing. It's getting in the way of itself. It's very marginal, but in my opinion, it makes a big difference. So always set it up to where the outside part of the band is going to the bar and the inside of the band is going to the J-hook. This works really well if you're trying to reach that elusive 225 bench. In my opinion, it's a mixture of band tension and straight weight on the particular bench press itself. Bands are not better than straight weights, okay? Chains are not better than straight weights. They're just a different environment that allows you to lift in a different way, changing the force velocity curve, which gives the body new information in order to adapt and grow. When you use just straight weight, what happens is you get all of the work at the bottom of the lift, but you rarely get much work in the middle and the top. So for those of you that's been lifting for a while, you'll notice that in the bench press, you have to stick, you probably stick somewhere in the middle to 3/4 of the way up. And why do you think that is? Well, it's because when you're doing your reps of 10, 8, 12, 15, whatever it may be, you're getting all the work in the bottom and you're very rarely getting any work in the middle and the top because of inertia. Bands take the inertia away and make you push through the weights as they're getting progressively heavier. Force velocity curve, okay? So the faster the bar moves in the middle, the less force you can put on it. So what do? You put bands on it and you trick the CNS into firing more motor units with the same amount of work. Now, the trick is that bands can be used for maxing and for speed. Which one's better? The answer is neither. They both work very, very well. Now, if you're a very strong lifter, i.e. over a 405 or a 500-pound bencher, there's another set of bands that we can use that I will show you that's probably made me the strongest bencher that I ever was at 6'11" in a full powerlifting meet. So if we look at this bench here, you'll notice that these particular pieces of steel are about 3.5, 4 inches off the ground. This still works for speed benching, absolutely. I've had to do this when I'm traveling and I don't have access to my Wenning Strength bench or another good competition bench. And now I can take this to the bar, but I'm gonna lose a little bit of band tension because of the height. And that's why it's so important to have the right stuff. But as you can see, the height of this is much taller. You wanna get the bands as close to the floor as you possibly can. So although that this works, I wouldn't say that it's optimal. Now this is what we call a light band. And when I'm gonna show you how to hook this up, this is not light at all. Warning, train with a bench that has spotters. Notice that the Wenning Strength bench has these very long arms that I can adjust up and down to where I can put it right before it would knock me in the teeth. We're gonna show you how to put 200 pounds of band tension on the bar with these bad boys right here. So it's the same setup as the Reds. You make sure all the little twists are out of it, and then you just lace it right underneath that pin. Make sure all the little kinks are out of it. So you see how it flipped it, and then one more. That's about as good as it's gonna get right there, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it up. It's already pulling like crazy right here. I'm gonna put it all the way on the bar. That is 100 pounds of band tension on one side, 200 pounds total. So just in bands right now, if I were to have it on both sides, it'd be a 245-pound bench press. My best with this was 475 plus this orange band, which equated to well over a 600-pound bench. So again, you're probably not going to use this type of setup unless you're very, very strong and very, very skilled. So do not try this if you're a 225 bench presser. It's probably not going to go well for you. But this is how the most elite use bands in order to create maximal strength and learn how to create maximal braking under maximal force. And so again, the band tension is trying to accelerate the weight in which is on the bar. When you go back to free weights, they feel like toys. So this is Matt Wenning at wenningstrength.com. This is how you want to set up bands. I showed you how to do it if you're super strong. I showed you how to do it if you're within reason strong, and I showed you how to do it if you're just starting. Remember that band tension probably shouldn't equate to much more than 35% of the weight that's on the bar at one time compared to what's actually in free weight on the bar. Meaning, if I have 200 pounds of band tension on the bar, I need about 400 pounds of weight on the bar to use the 200 pounds of band tension. Same thing with speed work. If I'm using 200 pounds of weight, I don't want to use much more than 100 pounds of band, okay? That allows me to still move it at around 1 meter per second. Now in max effort work, we're not measuring speed, we're measuring how strong we can get. So we have a certain amount of weight that you should be able to get on the bar based on how much band tension you have. If you have any more questions on this, or you want to know how to fit this into your workout, hop on the top tier, the Conjugate Elite training. We can walk through how much band tension you need. We can make sure your reps and sets are optimized to make sure that you get the most out of this environment training. Talk to you guys soon.